Hello everyone, I'm Alan, also known as McLaren 2009, and today I'm back playing Derail Valley. But I'm doing something a little bit different today. I just got a Valve Index yesterday, so I'm kind of testing it out and making sure that I got everything working like it's supposed to. And so far it's putting up a little bit of a fight. Alright. So, let me make sure that... Alright, we are picking up my microphone. Supposedly the background music is playing somewhere, but that remains to be seen. Alright. So, we need to grab this. I'm going to put that right there. Oh, I actually can hear the music. Okay, good. Alright, let's grab our pocket watch, put that right there. Alright, got our remote turned on. Although there is something that I need to change in this. Okay, let's do it that way. Okay, now I have a little bit more room to work around, so I'm not seeing my Guardian pop up. Alright, so last time we came down here to the machine factory. I put some cars away and started doing, refueled the engines, got all that set up, but now we gotta change things up a little bit. That's gonna be a little bit weird and hard to get used to. Okay, maybe that way it won't keep popping up. Alright. Hello. I'd say it's going well, sort of. I need to get up here. Alright, let's go... We need to have this going back and this going forward. Independent should be fully applied, but it's not. The index itself is treating me fine-ish. I just have to work out some bugs like figuring out how to use it. Like on the Rift, there's just the single button to grab, but for the Index, the button is bigger and it allows you to touch it with 3 fingers. And it's fine in games that use it. But in games like this and in like H3VR, where it doesn't use the finger tracking, you have to... Maybe it doesn't work like this, but it feels like you have to use all 3 fingers. in order to register that you're trying to grab something. Alright, breaker's up. Let's close that. Nope. Okay. Let's go up here. Oh, this is another detail that I never noticed. Alright, so check this out. Since I've been learning how to fire up engines, I now know that the primer and starter switch would be over here, but the lay shaft would be right here. There's also a couple more things you would have to check. But that's a whole nother thing. Alright. Alright. Wait a minute, can I? Oh, okay, you don't need all 3 fingers. You just need one, but that's going to feel awkward as shit. So maybe use all 3 fingers just to be safe. I could not have picked a weirder way to say that. Okay. Alright. Breakers are up. Close that. Okay. Okay, this needs to be up. Game is a little quiet, but that'll probably buff out when you're running. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll keep an eye on it, but it's kind of weird getting like the volume stuff sorted, if that makes sense. Alright, so we got that released. Get the cab light on. Okay, let me go into this. Alright, let's go back up to high. Alright, let's see if that matters. Okay. Basically, what I'm trying to figure out is like this thing right here, where I'm trying to get my graphical settings tuned, because this frame keeps like disappearing on me when I'm moving, and that's kind of unsettling and weird. Yeah, that sounds about right. Alright, so we gotta turn this off. The funny thing is, I still haven't even gotten the, or I still haven't really messed with the fact that the slug works from both directions now. I mean, it won't matter with the way I've got this situated, because this is a diesel hydraulic, so it's not going to matter. So the slug's only being used from one direction, but supposedly it no longer matters which one you couple first. Like, there was that weird gray area where when you coupled it, it would, like, whichever one you attached to the slug first is the only one it used. Now you can use both sides. Alright. Alright, we got that in. I mean, if that came on, that means this is up as well. Which, if you're going to shut down engines, don't leave the knife switch on. And if you're going to turn off the knife switch, make sure you turn off the breakers first. Otherwise, bad things happen. Well, by bad things, I mean you're going to... It won't technically strike an arc, or not like an arc like welding, but there will be a light. Alright. Okay. Oh, that's going to be really weird. Okay, so all three engines are running. The slug is, well, being a slug. Okay, now we just gotta get to this switch right here. Alright. That is way too much. Yeah, it's gonna take some getting used to the controllers. They're a little bit weird. Okay, well, no, not that. Okay, where's my control? Okay, now I'm in a better position. No, not that. Alright, let's get up here, maybe? Okay. This is a thing that's easier to deal with on a real remote control than it is in the game. With a real remote, the throttle is like a knob on the right that you twist forward to speed up and back to stop. And then the independent brake override is also a knob on the other side that you go forward, or all the way forward to emergency and all the way back to release. And then the train brake itself is another thing. It's a knob just like this, but it's up here. Basically, it's a whole thing. But it's also worth noting that with the throttle, it's not really a throttle on the real remote control, it's a speed setting. Like there's stop, coast, brake, coast, couple, which is 1 mile an hour, 4, 7, 10, and max, which for some places will be 15. For us, it's just 10. I'm currently using rolling line as a planner for my actual model railroad. Oh, cool. Rolling line frustrates me. Or at least the controls frustrate me. Although, oddly enough, putting the independent brake override all the way into emergency does not dump the entire train. At least, as far as I know, it doesn't. Alright, let me hop off right here. This thing freaking hurts. Alright, let's apply independent brake. Some independent brake. Not all the independent brake. Now we can apply more of the independent. Oh, that's going to be interesting. Alright, so basically there are going to be some growing pains with getting used to the index. Now, this is another one of those things that it's different with the real remote versus the Derail Valley remote. There's like this system built in if you're working with like an automated hump yard. My specific station does not have one of these, but they do exist. And there's like this borderline arcane ritual that you have to move the reverser, wait 5 seconds, hit the bell, move the reverser again, hit the bell, wait 5 seconds, move the reverser back to the normal position, wait 5 seconds, and hit the bell. And that's how you pitch control to the automated hump computer. But aside from that, in that very specific arcane ritual of pitching control to a computer, aside from that, you can't change the reverser until you come to a complete stop. Otherwise, it basically puts you into a penalty brake application, and it says illegal reverser change or something like that. And then the talker message tells you to reset. So you put the reverser back in neutral, put the speed selector to stop. It's a whole thing. Either way, don't do it. It's just going to add hassle and make your life harder. Okay. Okay, now the next switch that we encounter will be this one right here. Which, luckily, it's already facing the right direction. Now my engine should be around here somewhere. Alright, let's grab... Let's just flat spot the wheels. Fuck it, it'll be fine. Which, that's part of the reason why you bail off the independent when the train brake applies. The other part of why is so it doesn't break down the brake shoes. Alright, now, I said last time that I was gonna shift around the military base here. Because nothing was really jumping off the page at me on the normal, like, civilian side of the yard. So, we're going to do military stuff. Also, pro tip, make sure you look both ways when crossing any tracks. I mean, the good news is that part's simple. You just grab the thing and then it just, well, does the thing. Where'd my controller go? Alright, E3 in, E4L, E2S. Okay. Come on. Perfect. Okay. So, we're gonna unload... Did I just... Okay. Let me see if that works on other stuff. Like, if I just walk up to this... No. Okay. It was a nice thought. Okay. So no, I cannot just randomly walk up the ladder. Okay, so we're lined up for this. And we're lined up for that. But we need to line this switch right here. Maybe? There we go. Okay. Alright, so... Kill the independent. It's one of those, if you're waiting for the bell to go off, it's not going to happen. So that's another thing that's different. Like, I wish they would put the bell controls into the remote. Like, with the real ones, the horn and the bell are both on the same switch. Like, you flip it to the first position, it toggles the bell. You flip it, or you push it up to the next position, it activates the horn as long as you're holding the button. I just wish they could do that. Alright, now the other thing we gotta do is, because we're gonna go out this way, we're gonna flip this switch. Because if we look back in the office, this is going to the harbor. So, we're going back to the harbor. Alright, let's set the independent. With my luck. Okay, good. They're applied from the other direction, but... Nope. There. Yeah, they put that brake down there on, and we don't need this brake on. But, luckily, it stayed close enough that the slack didn't roll out. Alright, so crouch back down, pop up, grab this, put that, hit that. Alright. Also, another thing to deal with the actual railroad is you have to open the angle cock slowly, otherwise it'll just dump the train. Basically, what it works is the cars themselves, right? Like, here's your reservoir. The reservoir's in two pieces. Like, the real ones, it's split into two chambers. There's, like, a main reservoir and an emergency reservoir. And there's air going through the brake pipe. So, end to end, on the train, there's air going through the brake pipe. Easy day, right? Well, in order for the brakes to apply, you have to make a reduction from the controlling locomotive. So, basically, the equalizing reservoir, I mean, since it's connected to the remote, technically this would be our controlling engine, but Derail Valley doesn't have, like, a cutout. I keep asking if they might put it in one day, but I'm nobody in the Discord server. So take that with a grain of salt. So engineer in the controlling locomotive makes a reduction. So they change the equalizing reservoir down to a certain point, and then the systems inside of the engine reduce the actual brake pipe itself to match the equalizing reservoir. Then you go down here to your car, right? and it detects a reduced pressure in the brake pipe. So that says that there is a control valve, basically, or there's a control box, basically that cube right there. The reservoir is charged to, say, 90 psi, normal freight operating pressure. Now the brake pipe is reduced, so it detects that there is less pressure in the pipe, so air goes from the main reservoir through the control box into the brake cylinder, and the brake cylinder pushes out a piston which applies the brakes. So it also detects a rapid brake reduction, which opens up the other half of the cylinder. So that opens up the emergency reservoir. And basically it forces every bit of air that it has into the cylinder to apply the brakes to their maximum pressure. So if you open up the angle cock way too fast, what happens is it detects that rapid reduction in pressure, and it opens up the emergency reservoir. So we refer to that as putting the car into emergency. And if all of your cars are connected with the hoses laced and the angle cocks open, basically you just put your entire train, or at least that entire cut of cars, into emergency. That's a very bad thing. If you're on a hill, it means you're going to be tying some handbrakes, otherwise the train's going to roll away. Because you can't recover, until the train is held in place with the handbrakes. And if the train is just held in place by the air, which is now in emergency, the only way to recover is to release the brakes. And if you release the brakes, you're just going to take off down whatever hill you're currently sitting on. You're just going to rocket down the hill, and you're not going to have a good time. Okay. Oh, well, there's another problem here. Alright. We forgot to take off the handbrakes. So, as per usual, we gotta update the count. No, not that. There we go. Okay. And while I'm here, I can grab a drink. In case you're wondering what I just did that I described as a skill issue, I forgot to knock off the handbrake, so therein lies the problem. If you don't knock off the handbrake, you're going to drag the handbrake, and that's a bit of a bad thing. So don't do that. So yeah, in order to recover from the emergency, brake application, you have to release the air brakes and charge the pipe back up. Well, if you release the brakes on a hill and you haven't tied enough handbrakes to hold you in place, you're just going to roll down the hill, and that's going to be a bad time. Basically, you have a runaway train now. And if you look at anything that has to do with physics, an object in motion will stay in motion, basically until it's acted on by something else. So it's either going to hit something, derail, or derail and hit something. It might do both. The world is your oyster, and not in a good way. So you release the brakes, or you put the engine into emergency, wait about a minute. Some engines is a little bit less, but wait about a minute, then release the brakes, and then it'll start charging the system. Okay, found a couple of mods for Railroader. Huh, interesting. Okay, I need to stop the train. The train is doing things. Okay. Okay. Now, realistically, I didn't even have to tie the air. I could have just moved these without it. Like, you look right here at our... Okay, no, those are pretty heavy. It was probably the correct thing to tie the air. We didn't need to, but it was probably the right move. Alright, so we got this distance, we got this right here. This is the farthest point of the track. So, since we have air tied, we can use the automatic brake to stop the cars. And since we got one car length, let's do that. Alright. Apply the independent, release the train brake. And we go over here, make sure that we are, in fact, inside here. Hit that, go forward. That's going back. Head over here, grab this lever, and unload. Okay, now, these are all empty. Alright, now, let's see, that one's right there. Okay, so this switch right here, we should probably line that back for the inbound, and then we'll go over and get that switch and line it once we're clear. Considering I have 21 of 22 licenses, this job probably only had like a 10-minute, like a 20-minute time limit, and I'm probably going on like a freaking hour getting this done. But it's whatever. We're not worried about time. Alright, and we just barely cleared the switch, so it's not like we it's not like we went over it by like a lot. But that's the thing. In the yard, you're always going extremely slow. Alright, so this is lined for 2S. Now, the real question is... once we get these in, will it produce a logistics haul? It probably won't do a loading, like shunting job, because there's already loaded cars on the outbound. So it probably won't have us load. I might be able to do it later. Uh-oh. Okay, that's probably a bit excessive. Alright. We gotta shove it in there a little bit deeper. About 2 cars. Okay, maybe don't go up to 5. Now I completely lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, it's probably not going to produce a loading job. Alright. Alright, let's make sure this is applied. And it won't produce a loading job because there's already loaded cars going out. Did not want to turn that off. Okay. So that leaves an option of it'll either create a logistics job or it'll do absolutely nothing. You never really know which. Alright, close that. Open up that. Put that over there. Alright, now let's go turn this in. And we should be golden. Probably not though, but it's a nice thought. Alright. No frickin' way. It was 19 minutes and we did it in 20. Oh well. Oh, and it's going to the harbor. It's going to the harbor too. We can take them both. All right. Let's. Okay, well, we need the tanks first because those are the heavies. Don't put light cars in front of heavy cars. That's another way to derail. And basically it happens when you apply the brakes. Alright, so we can take tanks and flat cars. Alright, so shove that in there, shove that in there. B3. Alright, let's grab this first. Oh, yeah, actually, that can go right there. And that can go right there. Alright, sweet. Alright, so pop this thing into reverse. Lit up right here. We gotta grab the tanks first, and then we grab the flat cars. No, 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 no. Do not go that fast. Alright, that should be good. Okay, now, we applied the brakes on this end, but I don't think we released this brake. And we gotta grab this and put it right there. Okay, we got our lantern. This thing does not provide much light. Which is kind of funny because my real one is an LED lantern and it is very bright. Bonk. Alright, now, since we put the handbrakes on this end, right? We're good. If the handbrakes stayed on the other end, there's a slim chance that if you slam into the cars a little bit too hard, the slack will roll out and the cars will basically run away from you. And you don't want that. That's a bad thing. Alright. So, realistically, we should probably do the right thing. Center of the reverser, full independent, and also full train brake. But there's really no point in applying the train brake if you haven't... Or there's no point in applying the train brake if you haven't tied the brakes. Okay, that was stupid. I was kind of wondering what would happen if I did that, and, well, we know what happened. Alright, so Now we go forward. And it actually works out that we did it this way, because by using the military base as a Y, we've spun around our entire consist so that we're actually going forward. I mean, ultimately it doesn't freaking matter, because the way that we've got this set up, with everything back to back, no matter which end you hook up to, your leading engine is always facing the direction of travel. It's just a fortunate coincidence that this time our remote engine is facing the same way that we're going to be going. So our slug's currently at the back. Alright, so did I miss something? I forgot to take off the brake again, didn't I? No, this is released. This is released. Okay, so, to put it into perspective, what the hell just happened? I'm completely used to using American coupling systems. So, what I just did was I didn't actually couple the cars. So, tried to pull the engines apart, dumped it into emergency. Hilarity ensues. And the engines go into emergency. Okay, so grab this, set that, pop it into reverse. Oh, this is going to be the problem that I was talking about. Okay. Okay. So, slack rolled out. Basically, I just accidentally put the engine into emergency. Stupid shit happened. Here we are. Alright, so put forward. Alright, now let's hold it with this hand. Supposed to be ambidextrous when doing this anyway, so Okay, I need to be over here. Okay. Okay, so basically that level of stupid shit is entirely preventable. And I would have prevented it if it wasn't for the problem that I forgot to couple the cars. And when you're working with coupler knuckles, you really can't forget. You just slam into the cars and then stretch them out. But with the chain and buffer, it doesn't work like that. Alright, so... go right here. Okay, I gotta back up again because I'm right on the corner of my desk. Okay. Okay, now all we gotta do is just get to this. I really wish that would stop popping up, but it's whatever. No, stop. Get off of there. Because there are 3 parts. My most recent skill issue was the fact that I connected the air hoses and tied in the brakes, but I didn't actually couple the cars. No, get off of there. No. Okay. So, now, like I was starting to say, there are 3 things that are required for 3-step protection. And you need 3-step protection to foul equipment. Well, you need 3-step protection if there is a powered, manned engine on that track. So, on the same track as you, or it could conceivably be on the same track as you. Like there's a switch lined to come into your track, you need 3-step protection. So, in order to get 3-step protection, let's set that down. The engineer has to do 3 things. They have to center the reverser, fully apply the independent brake, and turn the generator field off. Well, a remote operator cannot turn the generator field off, so the only thing we can do is center the reverser, fully apply the independent brake, and apply a sufficient amount of train brake in order to hold the cars. So that's as close as we can get to 3-step protection as a remote operator. this. Let's not forget to couple the cars this time. Grab this. Release that. And release that. Okay. Now, make sure that we're coupled. What the hell is that? Those are sparks. No. What the fuck is going on? Okay. So, handbrake's released. Let's just fully set the independent, center the reverser, and let's start finding out what the hell's going on. Handbrake's released. Handbrake's released. Brakes released. Brakes released. There's no air. Alright, so I forgot to open the angle cock. Alright, that one's open. This one isn't. Okay, so basically what we were just doing is... the car's dumped. So we were pulling against the handbrakes. Or not, we're pulling against the air brakes, not the handbrake. Alright. So we got another stupid mistake out of the way. Okay, now we're up to this crossing. So we gotta go up here, and we gotta get this switch. And then we got this switch. No. Okay, you can't do that. It has like It has like a quarter of the signal. What the hell's the problem? Okay, let's not stand in the middle of the tracks. As much fun as that might be. That's good. And then we're going to line this switch back for this way. The reason we're doing that is because more than likely we're going to go in this way. What in the... Okay, that's the... Okay, that's the wrong switch. Okay, we gotta grab this switch. Because we're gonna get this lined back normal-ish. Alright, now we gotta get up here. Alright, that one's fine, but the switch we need to change is this one right here. Oh, actually, the one we need is the next one. So it's this one right here. And we're changing this switch because if you remember when we came this way the first time, we went this way down. Alright, let's grab this and there. That way we've got a thumbnail. Because it turns out that's actually kind of important. Alright. So yeah, if you remember from the beginning of the stream, we went down that way past the water column. Alright, so if I... Okay, that made it go away. Okay, good. So yeah, we went that way past the water column. Alright, now, in theory, what we want to happen... Can I make it stop doing that? Like, stop telling me when the freaking... Definitely don't do that. Okay. Okay. Okay, I want to make the thing stop. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Okay. Basically, the thing that I was just trying to deal with was the fact that whenever my headset moves a little bit too much, it's showing me a prompt. It's showing me a pop-up on screen about the interpupillary distance, and it appears telling me what it's currently on. And it's annoying because it's like moving around and it's like always popping up on screen, so it's kind of like annoying the hell out of me, even though it's the most trivial thing. It's bugging the hell out of me. Okay, let's apply some train brake. Because you'll know that this area is downhill. Okay. So we want to line this switch to go into there, because that's where the yard that you receive cars is. All right. So fully set the independent. In theory, we can knock off the automatic. Maybe. But the good news is it should fully set the independent on all 4 engines. So 4 engines should be enough to hold back 7 cars. And we can turn this off. No, okay. We'll do it this way. And the thing that I was just dealing with... Okay, where did my overlay go? Great. Okay. I can't see chat anymore. Oh, there it is. Okay. Basically, yeah, I already lost my train of thought. Alright, so go up here. Okay. It's being all kinds of screwy. Okay. Grab this, close that, close this. Alright, yeah, basically what I was doing was if you are holding something in your hand and you press the return to or you press the like inventory button, it'll automatically put it like down on your hotbar and not like up here. So I wanted it up there. Alright, but before that, I need to take off my sweatshirt. Okay. Now we're back. Okay. So, yeah, if you want your stuff to go into your backpack instead of your hotbar, you actually have to do it from the menu instead of just pressing the button. Alright, so we're set up in here. Alright. Let's grab this right here. Alright, we need to count to 10. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, 6, 1,000, 1,000, 8, 1,000, 9, 1,000, 10, 1,000. Alright, now the reason that I did that is there needs to be a 10-second delay between switching between throttle and dynamic brake. We're going downhill, so we're going to want dynamic brake. Alright. Honestly, it's probably not even modeled in Derail Valley. It's just that's what you do with a real engine. Basically, flipping the traction motors from being a motor to a generator quickly can yield some very colorful results. Alright. You're also not technically supposed to combine the automatic brake and the dynamic brake. That's supposed to also yield bad results, but I don't exactly know why. But we do know that right here is a 30-mile-an-hour speed zone. So we're coming up on this right here. Alright. And this is a steep freaking hill, too. I mean, it is steep, but it's not nearly as steep as that one over there. That one's bad. Actually, we should probably keep this on. Probably keep it on higher than that. Because now that we're past that... let's knock that off. Okay, so we've got the, we've got it contained-ish. Sort of. Even though we can go 100 right here, we're going to get to a 30 right at the base of the hill. So we want to be closer to that because, as you undoubtedly know, it takes a while for a train to stop. Alright. Alright, we can turn that off. Alright, let's just keep it on 1. We're probably way too early with the dynamic, and that's what's causing us these problems. Alright, let's just knock it off. Okay. Alright, so we make our way down towards City Southwest. I guess realistically we could swing by City Southwest and see if there's anything going to the harbor. Alright, you see that red light over there? That's going to be City Southwest. Oh, there's a bit more fog. hit it too soon. Alright. Now there should be one more. Alright, let's turn that on real quick. One, two. Okay. Now this area is mostly flat, but the thing is, there are a lot of like lower speed zones. And clearly the fog is causing problems. Go 90? Okay, you can go 60. I mean, that's close enough, right? That's 80. And that's 500 or 50. All right. All right. All right, now I'm pretty sure one of these drops down to 30. Yep, right there. All right. So we're under 30. And that puts us right about here. I think that was the second Y. Maybe. Yeah, the fog and condensation, so you want like the windshield heater. Alright. Alright, now we're coming up on Oil Well Central. Yep, so that was the second Y. We'll go about 50 through the station, and we should be good in that regard. Now here we can absolutely get things that are going back to the harbor. But we're just not at the moment. All right. Oh, and I should have blown for the crossing. So we were doing good until we weren't. Such is life. Alright, up next is the farm, literally around the corner. And then we can get all of this put away at the harbor. Because all we gotta do is go to the harbor military base. Alright, I think there's a crossing. There is a crossing, but you can't really use it because it's pretty much always blocked. So hell, there's a yard sign blocking the crossing. So if they put a freaking post right there, they don't intend for anybody to use that crossing. That is a private crossing. But now the thing is, this turn right here is 50. Except there's a problem. It's 50, but it's also like literally the steepest hill grade in the game. So you gotta hit it with some speed. Now, we've only got 7 cars, but 3 of them are heavy. Like, very heavy. We've got tanks. Those aren't light. It's interesting because the windshield wiper control would be like up here by this light. And this would be like the headlights, ditch lights, and these would be the control stand switches. There would be two sand switches, or there would be two sand controls. There would be like leading edge sand, or both edges, and then the actual apply the sand button. Then there would be an alerter, acknowledge cab signals. Basically, there's a lot of other stuff on the control stand that is not in Derail Valley. Then this is where the cutout valve goes, and this is where the MU2A valve goes. So that cuts out the independent brake, this cuts out the automatic brake. Really love to know, like, what is getting on this windshield. It is like dirty as all hell. But it's whatever. Now, the thing about my current engine consist, you can see that the DH4 is still running, but because it's a DH4 and not a DE6, it doesn't have the same capabilities that this engine has. So if we run this up to full throttle, the DH4 is going to overheat faster. So basically, you don't want to do that. So we got to be very careful when putting this to full throttle. All right, let's bring that down a little bit. All right, let's release that. We're gonna have a bad time if we're gonna derail now. No, and we can turn that off of bright. With the sun coming out, windows drying up. Which is interesting in and of itself because both these should also have windshield wipers on them. So we go over here and you can see this one came on. Alright, we are going 40 and dropping. Okay. Now we get around this, let's see, about where does it look like we are? That could be possibly right here. Going right... Yeah, that's right about here. Alright, so once we get to this tunnel over here, it's basically all downhill, and we want to be going no more than 40, because there are some pretty sharp turns going down here. So basically, it's a whole thing. I mean, realistically, every part of this is a whole thing. That's a pain to deal with. If you ever thought that running a train was easy, it is not. Yep, still going right. Then it's going to switch back a little bit to the left. Then there'll be the Y junction. Then there'll be the first tunnel. Let's see. Alright, it's being a little bit weird. Not sure what's going on with that. My overlay that's supposed to show me my chat feed, and it also shows me like the current charge of my controllers. It's acting up and it's not doing what I want it to do right now. So we've been at this for a little while. But since I haven't streamed for a little while, or it's been like 2 weeks, I think. And at the end of next week, I'm leaving, and I absolutely will not be able to stream for at least like 4 months. So I should probably do like a decent one today, just to get it out there. Oh, maybe I was too soon. Maybe I was looking at this area. We're not to the Y yet. We're just now getting into this turn. Okay, so I looked at the wrong thing. Oh well. Let's throttle up a little bit. Alright, let's get that closed up. Now we're almost to the Y. That's the wheel slip. Thing about these, like, status lights, this one is here. And then there's also a couple others, like these, where it shows, like, there's a problem with the brakes. Those are also here, but, like, the oil and engine status lights, they're on the back wall. But this game doesn't put them back here, because this is where all the stuff that you start the engine with is. It's where your headlight controls are, your number board lights, your engine status lights, all of those things. Basically, there are a bunch of protective devices that keep the engine from destroying itself. And if any of those are activated, there'll be like a series of like 5 lights on the top of like a panel back here. And if one of those lights is on, it means one of the protective devices is activated. Basically, that could potentially be a very bad thing. Alright, and 40 right here, but it's getting steep, so we're going to notch up the dynamic brake a little bit more. Currently sitting about 500 amps. The interesting thing is that the traction motor temperature gauge isn't going up. And it should be, because right now we are using the traction motors as a generator. So they're taking the mechanical energy of physically rotating and generating electricity, which is in turn being sent to a grid of resistors working as a heat sink up here. And the thing that you're actually hearing is a blower that's forcing air onto the onto the resistor grid. Okay, we gotta hit this again. Alright, good to go. So yeah, the thing that you're actually hearing is a blower up on the top of the engine that's blowing the resistor grid and keeping them cool, allowing them to further dissipate heat. But the point is that there is still heat that needs to be dissipated. Like, the fact that this is showing, like, forward and backwards, like this is loading or sending electricity to, sending electricity to the traction motors, and this is taking, or this is drawing electricity away from the traction motors. But they're still it's like electricity is still going through them one way or another. So in theory, this temperature gauge should still be rising, because the motors themselves are still going to be hot. So the fact that this is like down to like 0 is a little bit weird. Alright, we gotta notch up the dynamic a little bit more, because we're getting a little bit close to the 40k speed, and that's not good. Because you can see right here, we're going through another 40 zone. So bad things happen. If we go above 40, we're going to derail, potentially. I mean, it's not guaranteed we're going to derail, but the option is there. Although doing that was probably stupid. We're going to keep the dynamic going. I should have just notched it back. Yes. To the whistle sequence, for basically everything, it's crossings, tunnels. It's two long. It's like 2 longs, short, and a long. Except the funny thing about it is there's an event recorder in the electrical compartment on the engine, and if you do it too short, it won't even register. So it's like 2 long blows of the whistle. It's like 2 longs and then like a medium and then a long. Because if you do it too short, it won't register in the event recorder, and then the road foreman's asking you, did you blow for the crossing? And then you did, it just didn't register. It's a bit bizarre. And then if there's like people that are on the rails as you're going by them, basically just like more or less hit the whistle like a series of times. There's not really a prescribed amount, just like hit the whistle, hit the bell. But for us at Norfolk Southern, the book says both grade crossings and tunnels. It's 2 long, short, long. Alright, now it's going to get steep again. Alright. Can't remember. Is there a grade crossing at the base of the hill? Well, I guess we'll know soon enough. Alright. Let's start opening up and getting ready to get this party started. There is a crossing. Although I guess that might technically be a private crossing. Because that one was... Yeah, that one's not even gated. So that might actually be a private crossing. Alright, so I need this. Okay, we gotta go right here. Alright, so we've got 4 more cars past this. So let's start easing it down a little bit. Alright. Okay. Damn it. Alright, we gotta go a little farther. Like, this doesn't lead anywhere. So this very well could be a private crossing, and if it is a private crossing, that means you don't blow for it. But we already missed a crossing at the farm anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, now we gotta get to B3S. It's going right. I think it's left to right. Guess we'll know soon enough. Yes, it is. Okay. So, right, and we're gonna shove back into here. Oh, wait, no. We gotta speed that up a little bit. Maybe don't fly in at 20. Alright, and we're on the move. Alright. Matter of fact, let's just hop on the car. Screw it. I found out accidentally that you can fall through these. I managed to get myself run over in the game, so there's that. And I think it's like B8I. I like their attack helicopter. I'm at the top of the Derail Valley category. Is there even anybody else in the category? If it's a race by myself, that's not much of an accomplishment. There's 2 others. Oh, well. I mean, to be fair, not too many people play the game. I mean, there haven't been any, like, major updates recently, so the streaming community probably died off a bit. I think the last major update was adding the, the Micro Shunter was a smaller update. The major one was the, adding food-grade covered hoppers and, milk tankers to the farm. Alright, I should get off of here. Alright, now we gotta shove 4 cars in this space. It might be fine. Or we might have to shove these back another car or 2. See, this right here is why I need the Military 3 license. Because these nuclear flasks are like $250,000 per cut. Oh, I should probably consider slowing down. All right. So yeah, I need to get that last license so that I can carry these. Because these are where the money is. All right, let's see. Alright, now realistically, I probably just obliterated my EOT lantern. Okay. Oh, and we got it all the way in. So, break. Break. And let's this back. Grab this. Put that back. Close that. And dump. Let's kill the throttle real quick. Let's grab this. Could have did it in 78 minutes. We did it in 101. Which means the tanks are going to be even worse. And I did not kill the throttle. See, these are $120,000. They're both 120 grand. Okay, it's B7i, not 8. I mean, realistically, close enough. Realistically, you couldn't apply the train brake again until it fully recovers. Okay. Oh, we're already lined for 7i. Alright. And all we gotta do is just get it in the clear of this sign. Assuming we didn't just accidentally mess up and line the wrong way, which is a distinct possibility. That is something I have been known to do from time to time. But this is why you walk your route and check your switches, so you don't stupidly go down the wrong track. Although luckily the stupid shit I've been doing in this stream is mostly just localized to failing to couple cars and not opening the angle cock. So basically, if you put the cars into emergency when you didn't intend to, you gotta recover it somehow. Yeah, it was here that has the helicopter. It's like somewhere between like a Cobra and an Apache. It's like a happy medium. Which is interesting because being in a fictional Eastern European nation, you would think it would be like a Hind, but those are frickin' massive. Clearly, whatever fictional country this game takes place in is on good terms with the United States. Now, the real question is, can we go out. Oh yeah, we're nowhere even near the gate. We'll go the other way out the Y, and then we'll shove back into the roundhouse. But first, let's tie some brakes. The game says you only need one, but I'm doing no less than two. Okay, nope. We already messed something up. Alright. Leave that leave that open. Let that close. Alright. And go forward. And dump. But we gotta go up here. Because we're gonna go this way. We're gonna go the other way out of the Y. Okay, now we go in here, put this thing away. No freaking way. Bonus time was 101 minutes. We did it in 84. So, just out of curiosity, we have $450,000. We're getting the license today. Because it'll only cost about like 30 grand to refuel and resupply all of the engines. Oh, come on. Okay, it's whatever. It's being all kinds of screwy. Yeah, I mean, that's how it works. I do it because I actually work for a railroad. And Derail Valley, even though they only tell you in the tutorial that you need you need one handbrake in the yard, they even kind of imply that the yards are flat, but it's like, I know that's station map. It's in the clusterfuck of paperwork in the Lost and Found, because it comes back. It doesn't despawn. You can't just throw it away anymore. It just comes back. All of the licenses, all the books, they all come back. So they just stay in Lost and Found. But it kind of implies that you may need more handbrakes, and then you can see it in person if you stop on a mountain and need to take your engines off. If you only tied two handbrakes, you're going to hear this annoying, ear-splitting, shrieking that's telling you you didn't tie enough brakes. Okay, let's check in here real quick. Okay, we're good. And like I'm always telling my handful of coworkers that actually know that I stream now, I'm always explaining that the reason that I still play games like this, even though this is what I actually get paid to do in real life, I still play these games because it's kind of cool to be able to demonstrate or be able to explain like something that I have real world experience with. So I've driven trucks, I've worked for the railroad, I've worked on aircraft, I've worked on radios, I play with chemicals, I deal with hazmat, I deal with environmental stuff. All of this stuff that I have like real experience with, it's really cool to be able to basically say like, this is why you do it, or this is what we're doing in the game, this is how we do it in real life, this is how the game is different from real life, this is how this system actually works. I like being able to do that. Yeah. That's more or less how you actually test the brakes. Basically, for Norfolk Southern, we have the rule C102. That is how you test handbrakes. So you tie what you think is going to be a sufficient number of handbrakes, and then depending on the grade that you're currently on, so like the specific terrain that you're currently on, you're either going to, if you're going uphill, you shove back and collapse or bring the slack in. If you're going downhill, you pull the slack out. And then you watch the cars. For most places, you have to watch them for a minute. If they don't move after the slack's adjusted for a minute, you're good. If they do move, you have to reapply the brakes, or you have to reapply the air brakes and tie more handbrakes. And you repeat this until it stops moving. But with time and experience, you slowly start to figure out, okay, I need approximately this many brakes for this type of terrain. It's like in this specific area, I need this many brakes for this type of terrain, and you get a little bit better about it. And if you can really torque them on, you might need a couple less than you think you do. If you put them on kind of light, you might need a lot more brakes. It's a very complicated thing. Okay. I mean, I would assume that maybe I'm getting him confused with Golden, but I thought he did work for a railroad. Not a class 1 like I do, but... Oh, okay. So I had him backwards. Shoot me. Sorry. Okay. Alright, now let's start tying brakes and shutting this shit down. Realistically, what you would do is you do the exact same thing with engines that you do with cars, but you actually have to do 2 tests with engines. You set the handbrake just like normal. And then it's a little bit easier. Even though there's 2 parts to it, it's a little bit easier in one regard. You tie all the handbrakes. It's like you tie all the brakes, and then you pick a direction. Let's say... Let's go reverse. You release the independent, and you throttle up. And then, as soon as you start moving, you release the throttle, or as a remote operator, you have to set it to coast. And you have to come to a complete stop within 25 feet. But that's only the first part. The second part we can't do in Derail Valley, because you have to isolate all of the engines so that they are not sending current to the traction motors. This makes sure that the brakes are applied, but now you have to check to make sure that the brakes are going to hold. So you isolate all of the engines, pick a direction, and then just set the throttle. Well, I mean, realistically, what an engineer would do is you release the brakes, or you just release all of the brakes, and then count to see if or watch the clock to make sure the brakes are going to hold. But as a remote operator, because the independent brake is tied directly to the speed setting, like you pick a speed you want to go at. It's like you pick the speed that you want. The only way that it'll release the brake is if it's in a direction and you pick a speed. But you have to isolate all of the engines to make sure that the brakes are going to hold. And you have to isolate all of the engines so that it doesn't send current to the traction motors and moves the engines. When you're not using a remote, when you actually have an engineer, you don't really need to do that. You just release the brakes and see if it holds. You just release the independent brake and see if it holds. But as a remote operator, you have to trick the engine into releasing the brakes for you. So you pick a direction, move the speed setting, you have all the engines isolated so it doesn't load the traction motors, and then it'll take about 10 seconds in coast, or it'll take 10 seconds in any speed setting before it automatically applies the independent brake. Like with an engineer, you can do this in one shot. But as a remote operator, it's a 2-step process. Now that we've done all of that, we've got all of our handbrakes applied. Now we've tested our handbrakes. Let's put the independent fully applied. Let's turn off the remote. Let's put that up there. And let's go in here. Put that back. At this point, we would also remove the reverser handle. Full independent. It would also be full service, but we're not too worried about it. Kill that. Fan's good. At this point, we would also knock down the circuit breakers and knife switch, but we're not going to worry about that because it's annoying to go back and redo it. So all I'm going to do is just turn off the lights. Forward and backwards, turn off the cab lights. Now, the thing about this is you have to actually hold it until the engine dies. Like, you have to hear it shut off completely. All right. Alright, so we got the lights off. But Derail Valley doesn't quite work like the real ones, or how the real ones do. Alright, now, the next moment of truth. Is this conclusively fixed? Yes. There was like that weird audio glitch. Okay, first my freaking gloves are taking off into orbit. Now my chat window is taking off into orbit. What the hell is going on with this game? I'm having all kinds of weird shit happen today. But yeah, there was that weird audio glitch where if you put the fuel hose into the fuel port, it would just start like rattling around and making like this annoying as all hell sound. Now, the real thing that I mentioned it in my last stream, what I would like to see in Derail Valley. All right, we go up in here in the cab, right? We're in the cab. Here's our fuel cutoff. Just one problem. That's not where the fuel cutoff is. The fuel cutoff is back here. There are 3 fuel cutoffs on every single engine. There's one in the back wall of the cab that both the engineer and the conductor have access to. There's one right here on the fuel tank on both sides. Which it's also worth noting that there's only one fuel tank, not 2. There's just one big single fuel tank that there's one port on both sides. Now, the game doesn't have it modeled where you have to fill both fuel tanks. You only have to fill one, and it just magically fills both. You just have to press the magic I believe button and just roll with it. But there wouldn't be this space here. These would be connected, and there would be a single fuel port right here. there would be like an analog gauge next to it, a digital gauge like above it, and then a fuel emergency cutoff switch. There's one in the cab and one on each side. 3 emergency cutoffs. Now, the reason that I bring this up is right here is where the fuel port A gauge, or at least one gauge, and the cutoff would be. Now, I bring this up because go back here to the slug. This is slug. Slug. Smaller version of DE6, right? Well, check this shit out. This right here should be on that. Where the fuel tank is on the DE6, it's still on the slug. It's basically a concrete block. This is what the emergency cutoff looks like. So you would think that since it has like a slot for it, that you would think it would also be on the DE6, but it's not. So yeah, that's just something I would like to see added. I would like to see a gauge or a fuel gauge on the outside and an emergency cutoff. But that's one of those things that it's like a very trivial thing that's not really going to matter to too many people. But it matters to me, damn it. Alright, so let's run down the list. We got diesel. Didn't accidentally yeet the remote into oblivion, so nothing on the sand this time. Alright, nope, let's go this way. It is really cool that the slug can be damaged now. Okay, that was my chat window going off to do something. Just left to its own devices. It's just gonna fuck off and go somewhere else. Alright. Okay. Alright, now, in theory, we have just topped off everything. So, we can go pay our environmental fees. And since this was only $17,300, we're good. It's going to be like an extra maybe $5,000 for the 3 vehicles that are actually covered by insurance. This is a very odd place for a completely assembled truck to just be chilling. Alright. We'll worry about that another day. Okay. Now, you go in here. Plethora of paperwork. It's a whole mess. At one point, I attempted to go through and throw all of these in the trash. But they're back. There's no escaping it. Why is that there? Oh, okay, that's the F track. Okay, we're good. For a second there, I thought it was over there. I don't know why. That's where I left it. The passenger tracks aren't currently being used for anything, so it doesn't matter. We go over here, right? Oh, and I need to reduce my copay by like $700,000. It's a bit lower than I thought it was. All right, we still have $431,000. So, military 3. All right. We're now up to $1 million on copay. And we are at the lowest we can possibly be. Copay remaining almost $1 million. And the total copay is almost 1.2 million. And we're at 35% reduced bonus deadline. So we now have all of the licenses. We have beat Derail Valley for a second time. At this point, I should probably get like a hobby or something. But point is, we got all the licenses. We can now do anything and everything. The world is your oyster. So, now that we have beaten the game again, we can do whatever our heart desires. I mean, realistically, at some point, I should just create like a sandbox game and just start breaking things. You don't want to do that on the actual save because that's gonna get bad fast. But I should just create like a sandbox save and just like go nuts. Just start like wrecking everything. What is this? Oh, you know what? That's the micro shunter. Let me check. No, fuck off. Yeah, that's the micro shunter. Which is interesting that it has any damage on it whatsoever. But that's beside the point. Okay, so we've been doing this for a minute. I should probably consider going to eat something. Was this always in the game? When did it get a weather forecast? Alright. I missed that in the patch notes. But yeah, I should probably consider going to eat something at some point. So, as a bit of a recap of what we've managed to accomplish in this stream, I started off in the machine factory. I moved some cars around at the military base. Unloaded some, like, containers with, like, uniforms and stuff like that. It's like, unloaded some containers. Nothing too spicy. Then I got both a freight haul to bring tanks back to the harbor. It's like we brought tanks back, and then we brought back a logistics haul of those same flat cars. They also came back here to the harbor. By some form of freaking miracle, we managed to beat the bonus time for the tank delivery. The logistics haul, we failed that one spectacularly. But the tank mission, we beat that one pretty well. So, we got a pretty considerable payoff from those two jobs. So, we got the last license. Now we have Military 3, making it the very last license in the game. Got that all taken care of. Got our engines refueled, serviced, paid off our environmental fees, got the last license, and now we are set up to do whatever, wherever. It doesn't matter. But the thing is, this will probably be my last time streaming for a little while. I'm doing a transfer to another station for about 4 months, and I'm only taking my laptop with me, so I'm not going to be streaming from a hotel. There's just no point. It's not exactly going to be the best of Wi-Fi. So I probably won't be streaming at all during the duration of the transfer. So it'll wait until I get back. So I figured I would get one more stream in before I go away for a couple of months. And what better way to finish it all off than beating Derail Valley for a second time. Hell, maybe I can go back and start like a brand new save or something. Or if they come out with another major update, I can deal with whatever comes in that. Which is interesting because this thing right here, the micro shunter, it is entirely electric. It's not diesel electric, not diesel hydraulic. There's no diesel in it anywhere. It is just straight electric. The fact that they put this into the game kind of implies that they're going to bring in like something bigger, like rail bus or something. Like another entirely electric crew vehicle. But that might be far down the road. I have no idea. But because that is straight electric, they're starting to put that mechanic in. So, more than likely, there probably will be another update like that somewhere down the road. But I haven't been very active in the Discord server lately, so I don't really know definitively. But in any regard, This has been Derail Valley. Thank you all for watching. It might be at least 4 months until I stream again. It'll be when I get back. But, as I said, this has been Derail Valley. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully, you all have a nice day.